Alright, so I promised a couple of people that I'd do a video on chalking a bell handle, since apparently I'm fairly good at it. So, here we go. Alright, so you can see this bell has been used. This bell has not been sanded in 2 chalk jobs. So I sanded it, and then chalked it, used it, re-chalked it, used it for another set, and now it's time to sand it back down. I don't go fully down to the metal. I'll show you exactly how far I go down to. So this is the old, and in a few seconds you will see how I turn that right there into that right there. Alright, so one of the first steps before you even start sanding this thing down and taking the chalk off of it is, in your bucket, make sure that you tap all the chalk down to the bottom of the bucket, because otherwise, put your kettlebell in on top of the chalk, and then you take it out, and then there's a big chalk spot on the floor. If you're a gym owner, you know how much that pisses people off. So, here we go. Bell in. Alright, what we're going to use, first part, is this nice sheetrock sandpaper. Alright, this is going to take the chalk off. If you go straight to this paper, alright, the middle of it gets gummed up, full of chalk, alright, and then it's useless. So we start with this right here. Step 2. This is sandpaper for a belt sander. This is a 24-inch loop. Alright? Belt sander paper is going to come 4 inches wide. What you have to do is cut the loop straight across, and then you have to rip these half, 3/4, 1 inch strips off of it. Alright? There's a little seam on the back, and sometimes there's like a tab. The best bet is to cut it along that seam, otherwise you get like a piece. Eventually that piece rips off. So cut it along that seam. You'll see it on the inside of the paper. Alright? Step 2. Alright, so this is what we're left with at this point. You can see I have not removed every single last ounce off of that handle. Alright? These little bits right here, the chalk loves to grip onto those little bits, alright? So I actually don't take it all the way down to straight metal. Plus, not every handle is perfectly smooth and perfectly round and perfectly flat all the way around. So you get these spots like this right here. Sometimes those spots, if they're real indented, alright, if they've got a real curve to them, they'll be hard to chalk, but just keep at it and you'll get it in there, alright? So I'm going to show you a little bit of real time and a little bit of time lapse on my method. Alright, so one of the most important things, the 2 most important things on this method, alright, pressure and friction. My boy Juan says that that's what he's going to name my left hand and my right hand. So pressure and friction, alright? That's what gets the chalk to really grip on, alright? This, right here, to chalk a bell, no. Garbage, alright? Water chalking will get you a lumpy bell. End of story. You can argue me all you want, that's fine. If you have your own opinion, that's cool. I can tell you that I water chalk my bells for probably the first 6 to 9 months that I train. I couldn't figure out how to get chalk to stick to a handle, all right, without water chalking. If you can't water chalk a bell, we got a problem, You gotta work on your chalking skills, all right? It is possible. The bell that I showed at the very beginning, and you will see this one at the end of this video, 0 water, none, 0, all right? That means that my chalk is perfectly smooth, but because of the pressure and the friction, that is what gets the chalk to stay on and grip the bell and not come off, all right? So, I'll show you how this is done. All right, little bit of chalk in your hand, all right? And this might be tough to see, but that much, that's all you need. All right, we're gonna start going over it. Other hand, hold the bell, all right? So this is just a light coat, just to get a little bit on there. Make sure you get all the way down to the paint, all right? If your hand touches it, you're gonna sweat on it and you're gonna take it off, all right? So we've gotta get all of that on there. All right, so the 3 people that I learned, well, I should say 4. So 2 people that I learned from personally, all right, actually watching Svetlana Krajcik. She chalks a bell, very similar method to this, and Jason Sanchez. Sanchez taught me about the friction. The friction will actually heat up the chalk. You want to feel the chalk get warm. If you don't feel that spot that you're chalking get warm, eventually that spot's going to come off. All right, that's what gets this. That's the magic. Friction, pressure, pressure, friction. The friction is what makes it warm. All right, so that's what we're about to get into. The other 2 people that I learned from chalking, Anton Anasenko has an excellent chalking video. Unfortunately, it's all in Russian, so unless you speak Russian, you can't understand it. Also, Valery Fedorenko has an awesome chalking video. It's just that it's extremely long. But same thing he says, no water chalking. It makes a lumpy handle. It will tear your hands up, all right? Especially important on snatch and long cycle, all right? You want to water chalk your bells for jerks? Be my guest. I wouldn't suggest it for long cycle or snatch. So, here it is, pressure and friction. You're gonna see this move very quickly, all right? Again, little bit of chalk, not much. Make sure you hold on to this thing, all right? We're gonna go. A little bit more. Now, I'm only going to do the right side of this handle, and then I'm going to show you the right side versus the left side and what this starts to look like. Okay, so you can see the right side of this handle I started, all right, that's the last part we just finished, and you saw that hand working, all right, it's about speed, pressure, and friction, all right, you got to create that heat and that pressure. When you feel it get warm, it'll start to change color. It'll go a little gray. When you take your hands off of it, it'll be pure white. Now, you look at the other side, I haven't touched it yet. So that was just the base coat. That was just the base coat that we put on, right? So now I'm gonna do the left side. I'll time lapse the whole rest of it, so it won't suck up so much time. All right, so some people are gonna ask me how I get the corners, the outside corner, all right? So I know this is gonna be tough to see, but all right, your handle is here. All right, I'm gonna put my hand on the top of the belt or on the handle. All right, small amount of chalk. Now you've got to go on that outside. All right, on the outside of the corner. All right, and we're gonna go up and down. All right, so that's how we start getting the corner. Okay, now I got a little bit more work to do on that corner down at the bottom, but we're starting to look pretty good. Now the question is underneath. All right, the inside corners, these are important. So you gotta spend extra time. This one needs more work. All right, last step. Brush it off, the extra, all right? As a gym owner, a person who hosts competitions, wipe your kettlebell off before you take it out of the bucket. And wipe off the bottom. One, beautifully chalked, no water, no water. If anybody's got any questions, give me a shout, message me on Facebook or Instagram, or you can shoot me an email, all right? Rock on.